Hello, it's me, Julian Greystoke, indie author and finisher of books. Some of y'all have been asking for more writerly tip videos, so I racked my brain for one I haven't already covered. Trust me, I've covered a lot of things, so check out the playlist for that. But I don't think I've covered this, at least if I haven't, not recently, and that is how to finish a book. I see a lot of people online on Twitter talking about how they've started so many books and never finished, or they've been working on the same book for years and years and years and just can't seem to get to writing the end. So I'm a finisher. I'm almost a pathological finisher. Now, yes, there are plenty of books that I have started and not finished, but most of the time I have a pretty good idea of when I'm just writing, just kind of get it out of my system and have fun, and when I'm writing more seriously for a book that I want to finish. So today I'm here to bring you my tips for finishing those works in progress. Now, obviously, going into this, a couple of things. First of all, I am not the god of writing. These are just my tips and tricks that work for me, but they're not going to work for every single person out there, but do give them some consideration and see if they might work for you. And also, this video is being made with the assumption that you want to finish the book. I'm not going to sit here and talk to people who don't care if they ever finish their book. That's not what this video is about. I want to talk to the people who are serious about figuring out why they are unable to finish books, like they start so many and never finish them, or are working on that same one they've been working on forever. So if you're serious about that, let's go. Let's talk tips. A lot of this is going to depend on what exactly stops you. And there's a lot of different things it could be. Maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's a tendency to chase plot bunnies or shiny new idea syndrome. Or maybe you just haven't figured out a way to prioritize writing so you get in one paragraph every other month or something. So figuring out what is stopping you is going to help you determine which of these tips are actually going to work for you. And that I can't help you with. You have to stop and think, what is it that stops me? Where is my personal sticking point when it comes to finishing books? All right, let's get to the tips. My first tip is to determine when you usually stop, because if you can determine that, it can help you figure out how to drive past it. If you know that you're coming up on the point in a story where you usually stop, this is for those who especially write part of a story and then always stop and start something new instead. Figure out at what point it loses its magic for you so that you can go into your next project being I know that this is coming up and I know that I have to not give in to that temptation this time. So knowing yourself and when that happens is super important. Second one is, don't beat yourself up too hard for stopping, because knowing that you're going to be disappointed in yourself is a really terrible way to start a book, and it's going to make you not want to finish another one because you're always setting yourself up feeling like you're going to fail. So don't beat yourself up too hard if you do stop. Just remember that we are determined to finish here, so we do want to figure out how to stopping. I do encourage you, and I don't know if this is actually a tip or just an addendum to a tip, but if you are one of those people who writes a lot of beginnings to middles and then stops, go back and check out your backlog of unfinished projects, because one of them might spark something and you might be like, holy shit, I could finish this now. I'm excited about this again. You don't have to abandon them forever. Go back and check them out and see if there's anything cool there that maybe you forgot about. All right, here's a big one, and this one is going to annoy a lot of people, but are you interested in finishing? Have you figured out that you're one of those people that maybe just keeps restarting and never finishes a book? I have bad news. My tip is to write one book at a time. Now, there are plenty of authors out there who can write multiple books at a time, but if you're trying to do that and none of them are getting finished, then I think it's time to write one at a time. And that used to be me. I used to try to write multiple books at one time, and I realized that I wasn't finishing any of them. So I made a rule. I can only actively be drafting one book at a time. And then I started finishing books. If you are stuck in that quagmire of just starting a new project after new project, you might have to make this rule for yourself, and it might seem like it's stifling your fun, and you might be going, but other authors can do it. They can write multiple books at once. You might be like me and be one of those authors that just doesn't work for. The next one is banish all those new plot bunnies, those shiny new ideas to a file or a notebook. Sometimes doing that is enough to make them chill out and wait their turn. Because yeah, while I'm following my rule of only writing one book at a time, of course lots of shiny new ideas show up in my brain begging to be written, and I have to say to them, no. You will wait your turn. I'm going to write down the details that I have at this time in a Word file, and then I will come back to you later. And a lot of times just writing that down in the Word file kind of gets it out of my system, so I don't feel like I have to write it. And then it's waiting for me later when I'm ready for my next project. Here's one for plotters. If you are plotting, consider being a little bit less rigid, especially if you are very rigidly plotting. Maybe your plot is kind of holding you back. Don't worry, I'll get to pantsers in a second. I'm not just talking to plotters. But if you are plotting, maybe consider being a little bit less rigid. Maybe let your story go in a direction you never thought it was going to go, because maybe you're trying to force something to work because you wrote it in your plot outline that's not actually going to work in practice. All right, now it's pantsers. I'm coming for us too, because I am one. Pantsers, if you are struggling, if you are stuck, if you're unable to write the end, maybe you need more details. It's finding that delicate balance about how much you need to know beforehand when you're getting into writing a book. For me, I do need to know at least a rough idea of what the ending is going to be, as well as a few key points in the middle. And if you are finding that you are trying to pants your way through without knowing anything and it's not working for you, you probably are going to have to figure out some of the details beforehand. It's really helpful to me to have something to work towards, even if a lot changes along the way. If I know that there's a destination and I need to get the book there somehow, that really helps me. Here's one that's gonna hurt a lot of people. Stop going back and rewriting and re-editing your beginning. Some people can do this. Some people are just fine editing as they go. But if you find that you are an edit as you go person and you have never written the end, it's time to break that habit. Your beginning is not gonna get any more perfect if there's never an ending. You gotta get there, and then you can work on making the whole book perfect. When I get back into a writing session, I barely read what I've written before. I might read like 2 paragraphs just to remind myself what's going on, but I never go back and reread the document. I never go back and fix it unless there's a very specific thing where it's like, I'm like, oops, I need to fix that. It's gonna take me like 2 minutes, go fix it, done. And this might be painful for some people to hear. Some people are like, you will pry editing as I go out of my cold dead hands. But if it's stopping you from finishing the book, and finishing the book is your goal, something's gotta change. My next tip is to establish a routine. Now, you don't need to write every day. I'm not one of those people who's like, you must. If you don't write every day, you're not a real writer. That's not me at all. I don't write every day. But the way that I finish books is by establishing a routine, is by keeping up with a rhythm. And actually, the way that I do that coincides with another tip further down, and I'm just gonna give it now, which is to publish serially in a low impact way as you write. Knowing that even 1 or 2 people are waiting for the next chapter keeps me moving, keeps me motivated, and keeps me working towards the finish line. And it's in a low impact way. I know I haven't got a ton of readers on my Wattpad. I know I haven't got a lot of people looking over my shoulder. I just get a couple reads. But just knowing that there are readers who might be excited for the next chapter keeps them coming. My next tip is to brainstorm with friends or get someone to hold you accountable. Sometimes you just need outside help. If you're just trying to do this whole thing by yourself and you keep getting stuck, it might be time to employ a friend, a sibling, a parent, somebody that you can both bounce ideas off of and who you can say, hey, ask me about my writing. Ask me how many words I've done today, or how many pages I've done today, or when I last sat down to write. Get an accountability partner, find another author online. Don't go looking for the big names. Find somebody who's like on the same sort of playing field as you. Like if this is your first book that you're trying to finish, find somebody who's also trying to finish their first book. Hold each other accountable and get that book done. My next tip is try writing the ending and see how you feel about it. Go ahead and skip ahead. You'll probably replace it later with the new ending, but see how you feel about that ending. Maybe the ending that you have planned just isn't working for your brain, and that's why you're struggling to get there. So write it out. See what you have in store. Writing out of order works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for me, but it works for a lot of people. My next tip is let yourself wallow in those moments. Let yourself enjoy those moments. You can always edit everything later. Some people get so worried about creating the perfect first draft that they get bogged down and can't seem to finish anything. The need for perfection is going to destroy your productivity. So if you're sitting here going, oh no, is this scene too long? Is it too short? Is it too this? Is it too that? Just let yourself give it as much or as little as you want. You can always go back and fix it later. And my final tip is to write short stories to practice pacing, flow, and experience reaching the end of something. Short stories are a little microcosm of a larger story. They still have important elements like characters, beats, beginning, middle, and end, but it will allow you to practice those elements that you maybe haven't gotten a chance to practice yet on a smaller scale, so you're not trying to practice it with a great big huge novel. So challenge yourself to keep it short, maybe 5 pages, maybe 10 pages. Write some short stories and get a feel for the overall flow of a story, because especially if you're pantsing and especially if it's one of your first books, you might just not have a handle. You might kind of be drawing a blank once you get to a certain point. You're like, I don't know how the story should flow after this. And practicing it is a really great way to learn, at least for me. So those are all my tips on how to finish a book. I hope that some of them are helpful. Some of them obviously won't help you. It just kind of depends on your experience and what kind of situation you find yourself in. But thanks so much for watching and giving them a chance. I wish you the very best with your work in progress. I know you can finish it. I know you can write the words, the end. I believe in you. I believe at you. I believe near you. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check my books out, available now on Amazon with another book coming out later this year. If you like, you can also support me on my Patreon, where you can get exclusive content you've never seen here on the regular channel, especially like updates, personal updates on my life, our new house, my writing, how that's going. I like to leave all of that stuff to the Patreon, so go check all of that out, as well as other rewards at other levels. This channel is also absolutely overflowing with content already, so if there's some writing advice that you think I should do, I've probably done it. So go check out the writing advice playlist. And if you don't see something there that you want to see from me, just drop it in a comment. I'm very receptive to what my viewers want to see. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
We're all fine here, thanks to my amazing patrons. Patrons like Pantsing Pony, Julius the Nice Dragon, Haley, Sam, Kira, Kihokaro, Mooney, Maria, Harley, Kirsten, Ronnie, Jojo Bookish, Lauren, Robin, Ursula, Caitlin, Jessica, KJ, Lafone, Amanda, Unicorn Jenny, Neon, Alyssa Green, Rita, Deborah, Afra, Melissa, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Sophia, Marween, Kit, Hidden Glade, Light Julie, Belle, Patrick, Anne Sophie, Callison, Ray, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Rennie, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, and Sarah. With patrons like that, I've got nothing to fear from the evil empire. The evil empire being YouTube.